There are a variety of ways to tell people you care about them. It doesn't have to be just telling them I care about you. It can be that warm smile you give every morning, or just checking up on you to make sure you aren't skipping class again. I would say I can easily detect these subtle ways of showing care, if I was a liar. When I moved out of my parents' house for university, I thought my mother wouldn't care, but she showered me in items to take home with me, ranging from food to toothpaste. At that moment, when I stood there with my hands full of various living items and my mother asking me if I had everything, I knew she really cared. This episode was really touching because Toru is like the glue that really holds Kyo and the others together. They say their thanks and praise, but this episode really showed some action to back their words. I'm all Team Yuki, I really am, but this episode was so good for Kyo x Toru. There was so much to love in this episode, and I really can't wait to explore it with you guys. This episode might be more of a I gush about how much I love it versus a real comparison, but we'll see how it goes. If you enjoyed this daily series on Fruits Basket, then you should definitely join me for the last few comparisons there are going to be by subscribing. You can click on the watermark in the bottom right hand corner or down below. To everyone that has already subscribed, thank you so much. With that spiel out of the way, I'm BriThi, your local degenerate, and in today's video we're going to be comparing episode 23 of the remake to the original. Before we start, I have to preface this video by telling you that the original is drastically different from the remake. I want to say that the original knew what it was doing, but it just seems like they put the original episode order into a mixer and pressed scramble. I didn't really think about how wacky it was until I really sat down and looked at it. The remake reordered it and put it into a logical order, so thank goodness for that. Due to Toru's illness and Kyo's master being separated into 2 episodes in the original, these scenes are longer and have much more going on. I can't really capture everything the 2001 version did, but let me just tell you these 2 episodes were really fantastic. Check them out if you haven't seen the originals. You won't regret it. Alright, now let's get into it.
いいか、全科目で一つでも赤点を取ったやつは日曜日追試だぞ。うげろじゃない。休みにわざわざチャンスを与えてくれる先生たちに感謝しろ。
そうそう、追試が嫌なら花から赤点取んなってな。もちろんトールも大丈夫だったろ。
Wow, I don't know if this is common for high schools in Japan, but I would have killed to retake some of my exams in high school. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten straight D's in math every class. So I never got to talk about it, but if you couldn't tell, Toru's teacher is a completely different person in both versions. At first I was very confused on why Mayuko was just a generic male teacher in the original, but my friend told me the reason. Yeah, Mayuko is very important because she will play a role to the overall ending to the whole series. I think the original could have still put Miyoko in and just not include that storyline, but what do I know? Another thing that was different is that Arisa and Toru are seated right next to each other in the original, while in the remake there are a few rows apart. Makes me think how loud Arisa must have been talking for Toru to hear her 3 rows apart from each other. Dang, if she was loud, everybody must have known that Toru failed her exam by now.
Honda-san? もしかして追試なの?
申し訳ありません。情けないです。ゆきくんがせっかく教えてくださったのに赤点を取ってしまうとは。恩をあだで返す所業です。合わせる顔もないです。何やら激しく頭痛がしてきました。
そんなへこむなって。そうよ。追試はテストより簡単な問題なんだから。
本田さん、そんなに気にしちゃダメだよ。誰にだって調子が悪い時はあるんだから。
そうよ。追試なんて楽勝よ。
お前が言うとなんだかな。
情けないです。
Some people might think she is overreacting over one failed test, but I can see where she is coming from. When I was in high school really trying my best, I couldn't afford to fail anything because I really wanted the gratification of making my parents proud. Toru really feels the same and I can easily relate. The original really kept the same comedic energy through this whole scene using a lot of the same facial expressions and a chibi-like style on the characters. It makes me really sad when Toru is still beating herself up over this failed test when everyone around her is trying to cheer her up. You can easily tell in both versions where the future illness is going to stem from. I have to say, the way they drew Toru in this scene really stuck out to me. It just captures her sadness perfectly. Remember how I told you the original was longer and had additional details in it? Well, this scene gave us a tiny bit of information that the remake did not. That being that Yuki was staying after school for a committee meeting. This is important because it explains why Yuki is later on missing in the next scene when she is walking home with Kyo alone.
何やら激しく落ち込んでまいりました。足元がおぼつきません。情けないです。こんなことで高校をちゃんと卒業するというお母さんとの約束を守れるのでしょうか。赤点を取ってしまうなんて。目の前がグラグラしてきました。こんなことで私はどうしてもっとしっかり。
なんだおいなんだよ、そこまで落ち込むことかよ。たくしょうがねえやつ。そんなんじゃしまいに熱でも出しちまうぞ。おい、熱か、言ってるそばから熱なのか。
So this is where the episode takes their two respective takes on the series. The original going for a much more goofy comedic take, and the remake going for a much more serious emotional take. Toru's face is covered in the remake for a bit while she thinks about breaking her promise to her mother. When a character's face is hidden, it means they're experiencing great hardship as evident from the rest of the series. The original has Toru's face in full view so that they can later give her a chibi face for comedic effect. When you really look at the two side by side, you can really feel the difference in tones. I feel like the comedic approach really conflicts with how Toru is feeling at the moment. She is really tearing herself down. She wants to grow and become a more reliable person while she is making these goofy faces. It just clashes for me. I also have to point out how cute Kyo's blushing face is in the remake. It really gives him that Tsundere vibe and I love it. I mean, as a Yuki fan, I hate it. I hate his stupid face. Finally, the last difference I want to point out is obviously Kyo turning into a cat at this moment. I like how in the original, Kyo actually caught Toru because seeing her fall face first into the ground was a bit painful. It was quite funny to see Kyo Cat freaking out, I will admit. It really shook up the scene in the original.
なんて悪いタイミングで熱を出してしまうのでしょう。これではますます情けなさ倍増です。トール風邪なの？大丈夫なの？ちゃんと寝てるの？
もみっち、声大きい。寝かせるためにバイトをお休みさせるんだよ。つまり今日はそっちに行かないということ。
あ、そうか。わかった。任せといて。今日はね、トールは風邪でお休みなの。だから今日はね、僕が代わりにバイトするの。トールの分までお掃除頑張るの。
この子はどこの子なの？でもいいわ、可愛いし。どうでもいいわ、可愛いから。
First things first. Oh my god, the hat, guys. The hat. Every time it comes up, I can't even stand it. When that storyline finally comes through, I'm gonna die. The running theme of just giving Toru chibi faces in the original continues and will probably continue through this whole episode. The only difference between these two scenes is Toru fumbling with the hat. This was missing in the original because it was a storyline that was not included. Another thing I want to bring up for a quick second is the transitions that the original does. They have this quick little quirky card that cuts in between two scenes. I usually cut them out of my videos, but as you can see, they are really cute, but dated for sure. It's one of those things that really show the original's age. Finally, Momiji is so freaking cute in this scene. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, Omega 11. In this scene, Momiji is scrubbing the floor while introducing himself to Toru's two other co-workers in the original. While in the remake, he is just talking to her co-workers as they admire his adorableness. I don't get how some people dislike Momiji. He is just a sweet, cute boy. I love how he even tried to put on an adult uniform. It just ends up making him look even cuter.
嘘？何やってんの、京くん。見てわかんねえのかよ。
ニラ？もしやトールくんの？
病人に飯作らすわけにはいかねえだろ。なんだよ、なんか文句あんのかよ。
なんも言ってないでしょう。ちなみに僕らの夕食は？
出前に決まってんだろ。頼みがあんだけど。
なーに、京くん。
これ持ってってくんねえか。
やだ。
ああ、わかったよ。
ああ、家壊したら罰金だよ。罰金。
Before I talk about this scene, I have to say that before this occurred in the original, Kyo is seen looking through cookbooks looking for something to make Toru better. He finds out leeks are the best and he has to go find his arch food nemesis. This was missing in the remake because the original had much more time to get some extra scenes in. Alright, now back to this. Kyo is seen wearing full gear while he's cooking food for Toru. You might think this is because his cooking is just that bad. No, it's actually just because he hates leeks. To take up extra time, the original included some extra interactions. We get a look at the food before it's finished, and there are a few very drawn out moments of awkward silence between Tsundere and Kyo. There was also a moment when Kyo is looking out the door and see a Toru that isn't sick. This was also included in the remake but was placed before Kyo cooked. It was used to motivate him to stop being a Tsundere and cook food for Toru. Now let's move on to the next scene. So the beginning of this scene was very different between both versions. In the original, Kyo walks in with full gear on his face, surprising Toru, who is already in bed. Now in the remake, Toru is not asleep and is still fumbling with the worn cap. As she goes to the door, the hat happens to fall in the crack of her bed, leaving line of sight. This is very important because, just know it's really important, okay? I don't want to spoil. I just want to take a second to say how cute it is that Kyo is cooking for Toru in her time of need. Really hits home that point I brought up in the beginning of the video of ways people show that they care. After Kyo's introduction in the beginning, the scenes are almost the same. One thing I want to point out is when Toru begins to cry at the end, it is shown in greater detail in the remake. You can really tell this whole thing is bothering her. This scene is so adorable for these two and I can't take it. Alright, let's move on to the second part of the scene so my heart can just melt a little more.
なんだよ。言えよ。聞くから。弱音。
お母さんとの約束守りたいです。なのに赤点取って情けないです。ユキ君にも申し訳ないです。風邪までひいて私はもっとしっかりした人間になりたいです。
終わりか？
終わりです。
赤点なんざ追試でいくらでも挽回できるだろうが。クソ雪なんざどうだっていいんだよ。死ぬまでこぎ使ってやれっていうか死ね。くたばれ。お前そんな風邪ひいて悪いと思ってんならパッと直していつものヘラヘラ顔で家の中うろうろしろや。
ヘラヘラ？
出ないとなんか調子狂う。
I have to say, venting is so nice when it's to someone you care about. I really feel like they're listening and that they care. This heartfelt moment between these two really makes me love Toru and Kyo together. But I must stay strong. In the original, they decide to not actually go for a comedic feel but take it seriously. I really enjoyed this because I can really get a glimpse of how different the original could have been if the studio behind it chose a more serious tone. We see Toru hold her head down and cry and really let it out, and it's endearing. What I love about this moment is that Toru is always helping other members of the Somas with their burdens, but she never really has gone a helping hand herself. At least, until now. In the original, you can really see Kyo battling his feelings and it's cute to see. The way he mumbles how he feels off when Toru isn't herself is sweet. The last thing I want to point out before moving on was how great the remake adapted the artwork of Kyo and Toru together. You can see Toru's carefree, spacey expression and Kyo's innocent, embarrassed expression in full detail in both, and I love it really. The one thing I would have loved to see is the frontal shot of Toru's vibrant smile. That would have been so gorgeous to see.
これはつまり。
ほら、食えよ早く。熱下げりゃしねえぞ。
励ましてくださっているのですね。美味しいです。
うまかねえよ、そんなん。お前のやつよか。全然。
嬉しい。
しっかりしたお前なんか薄気味悪いよ。
嬉しいです。京くん。
Just wow. I have to say the remake did this scene wonderfully. You know in the original her red face wasn't because she was sick, it was because she was blushing. Oh. Toru doesn't really blush as hard in the remake, but instead we get a blushing Kyo. I don't know which one I like more. They're both adorable. In the original, a lot of times Kyo gets cat ears when he acts like a tsundere. It's a nice touch that I miss. When Kyo sets his head down, it's a bit different in both versions. In the original, he stares a little harder at the floor, while in the remake he is laying his head on the table. We all know he did that because he couldn't say her food would have been way better to her face. The moment that really solidified this episode as one of the best for me was when Toru smiled and said she was happy. You really feel like all her past troubles are just melting away at this point. And it was all thanks to Kyo. People tell their loved ones every day that they love them. But when that love materializes into action, then your heart really is warmed in a loving embrace. It doesn't have to be something big like climbing atop the highest building and professing your love, but it can be as small as cooking a small meal or wishing them safe travels. I honestly have a warm feeling in my heart right now. I've already said a bunch in this video, and it would feel wrong of me to continue on when this heartwarming moment took it all the way home for me. So I'm going to cut this one a little short. I'm sorry I didn't compare the whole episode, but I'll make it up to you guys in the next one. Tell your loved ones you care, and hey, maybe even make them some breakfast or something. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. I feel so bad I cut this episode short, but how can I keep going after those scenes? I won't lie to you, I'm swayed. Kyo, you made me go to the dark side. I can't believe it. I'm all Kyo x Toru now. Yuki, you have to sway me back. You gotta step up your game, man. Thank you to everybody who stays and listens to the end. I appreciate you to no end. We're almost to 500 subscribers, and I'm so excited. I would have never thought that almost 500 people would listen to me babble about anime, but here we are. Also, things are heating up in the world of Fruits Basket. Oh my god. These next few weeks are going to be insane. But with that, I'm going to be signing off. I have other projects in the works, so look forward to those. I'm BriThi, your local degenerate, signing off. Sayonara, friends!